Today what I want to speak to you about is, is one of the most important processes that we can understand in our lives. And this is the process of transformation, which is also the process of embracing, recognizing, and flowing with the Divine Feminine. It's actually very simple, but it's very hard for human beings because our ego structure prefers to keep things in control or keep things like unchanging. It prefers to keep things unchanging. But the nature of the world of form, your experiential reality, the only one that you have, is that it changes. And it actually changes second by second, less than millisecond by millisecond. It is constantly in this state of evolution. And this is really important. It's already happening. You don't have to do anything to make it happen. So all of the change that you're looking for in your life is already actually in place and in cycle, and it's already moving. So why don't we change? Why do we have a hard time? Why do we meet parts of ourselves that, I just feel this way and I've been trying and I can't let it go, I can't overcome it, it doesn't change, it just keeps on going around. What is really happening? Well, from the perspective of this talk this evening, because of course there are a number of ways we can address this, but tonight what I want to address, because this is a very powerful day. This blood moon and the eclipse that's already happened, very, very powerful. And on a personal level, and a lot of the people that I've been speaking to, very heavy day, quite a heavy energy, quite a burdened with heavier emotional states. Now I'm sure that's not the same for everybody. It kind of depends on your location geographically, on the way that the moon and the transits are going through your chart, like what the planets are, what the signs are that they're going through and things like that. But this is a lot of what I've been hearing from people today. And it also feels very much like it's reaching, this idea of critical mass, where something just gets to the point where the mass is so big that it's going to do something. It has to do something. It can't just keep on staying the way that it is. So it's going to explode or implode. It's going to do something. So it's reaching that kind of a feeling on a global level, but also on personal levels, because we are all in this experience of meeting our unprocessed, our unprocessed experiences. So basically the whole planet is facing everything that is not yet resolved. And it has to find some kind of movement. Now, that may not be resolution. I personally can't see that every single person on the planet can decide to resolve all of their conflicts like that, especially when they're already in so many different states of consciousness. But it will do something. It has to move. Now, for people that are more able to understand that we are here in this earth realm to make these kinds of transformations, then there are techniques that can help. And as those people move forward, because we are one, because the butterfly wings, affect what goes on in the whole ecosphere, it's the same thing with human beings. As we find our way, the ones that are more aware of the fact that there is a permission to make change, find their way through, then it affects the greater mass. Now, what I really want to speak about and emphasize today is this idea that the Divine Feminine, and here we gather in the name of Mary Magdalene, who is the ultimate Divine Feminine. The Divine Feminine provides everything for us to move, including the motion of the movement already in place. This is what the Divine Feminine is. So she is everything that is experiential, like what you are looking at right now is the Divine Feminine. If you look at your own body, it is that. We're looking at the phone, it is her. We're looking at anything, it is her. She is the visible form of divinity. And she has within her already the motion of evolution. It's taking place, it's taking place, it's taking place. This is why if we don't move with things, we start to get ill, we start to feel disturbed, whether it's emotional, mental, or physical. You see, that makes perfect sense, don't you think, from like a logical perspective? If it wasn't already moving and we decide we don't want to move, well, no big deal. We're just not moving, and that's not going to create any kind of difficulty for us. If it's already moving and we're going, no, we're not moving, then we're going against the flow. We're going against the universal flow. We're going against the flow of the Devi. But the good news is, I mean, yes, we have this free will and we can do that, and we end up suffering. And the suffering hopefully inspires us to decide to go with the flow. These are our two choices, with it or against it. But the really good news is, when we have this sense of impossibility, when we do meet things, because it's not like people are deliberately saying, I'm refusing to change. And that happens sometimes, for sure. It happens to everybody at some point. But most of the time it's like, I'm trying so hard, I'm trying everything, and nothing's working, and how can I do this? What we need to understand, especially in those moments, is that we actually simply, and I'll make this very simple, have to agree to change. And, I mean, this can go on all day long, but let's just talk about waking up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, so you're starting a new day. Now already change has not stopped because you went to sleep, you dreamt, you were breathing, you were doing all sorts of things. So it's always moving. This world of form is always moving, it is always evolving. But the dawning of a new day for each person marks a new day, it marks something fresh and new. So right at that very moment in time, you can say to the Devi, you can say to the goddess, okay, I surrender, I choose to go with your flow. To set that in place already so that the mind doesn't already start to grab on to what you're working out and what does it mean and what you're going to do and what you're not going to do and how hard it's going to be and how hard it's not going to be and how it's what you need to make it happen and what you don't need to make it happen. All these kinds of things are fascinating in some ways, because we see humanity spends most of the time doing them. And in some cases we need insight, we need assistance, we need scheduling even. But what we need more than any of that is the agreeable mood to actually shift. And if you say that to yourself in the morning, you say that to the goddess in the morning, you will also recognize your resistances. You will start to, maybe for the first time, start to really understand your patterning. The patterns that you've for so long thought, what can I do about this? I'm doing this mantra, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm getting very little movement. When you make that simple statement about I'm choosing to go with the flow, and at times you will see, hold on, no, I'm not. You'll see this part of yourself that's kind of shaking and that's really not happy about that. You'll see the pattern. That's the pattern. It's the resistance. It's the wanting to hold on to the pattern. Now, you need to have what we call buddhi. You need to have some kind of wisdom. You need to have insight or discernment to be able to say, that is what I want to let go of. That is a pattern. It no longer serves me. Because when you hit the deeper things, that thing that is the thing you have to let go of is going to be so much part of who you are that you're going to question the wisdom of letting it go. But if you understand patterns, and if you accept, I'll say it this way rather than understand, if you accept that this world is in a constant flux, and that's just a matter of acceptance, it's an obvious reality. A baby is born, it goes through all these stages, eventually at some point it's going to die. It's an obvious reality. So you have to just simply accept what is obvious. If you accept it, and if you have some discernment, which just really, really helps with the ego structure, okay, oh, that's that pattern. Okay, I'm gonna let it go. Then, I don't know, is it stopping and starting for other people? It seems fine on my end, but I don't know. Okay, we'll just see. I'll keep on talking. Other people can let me know if it is. And if it, so then you will just go with the flow. You just go with the flow. It's already moving. You don't even have to do anything. All you have to do is choose to go with the flow. It is already moving. It is already in motion. You actually don't have to work it out. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to resolve it. The flow will take you to the resolution. And the thing that is profoundly beautiful and also challenging about it is that to go with this flow, to go with the Devi's flow, with the goddess's flow, it's an act of surrender. You're like saying, okay, Ma, you've got it. You've got it going on. Clearly, you are the queen of this world. You have created all of this and you are manifesting all of this and it's moving in a particular way. I wouldn't make it move like that. I don't want to die. I don't want to lose my friends. I don't want my children to die. I don't want this to happen, these kinds of things. My personality wouldn't choose this. So something else other than myself is choosing this and is allowing it to move the way it is. So you're doing it and I am in it. So I am choosing to surrender to your flow. I am choosing to welcome you, to support me in my transformation so that I keep on changing. Because this kind of change, I'm not talking about irrational jumping up and down, but okay, I'll say that again. I'm not talking about irrational jumping up and down. I'm talking about really consistent, healthy shift, that we should be open to change in every moment. Every moment, our perception should be able to change. And it's not an anxious thing. It's a reality. It's seeing the flow, the real, true flow of creation. So when we can say this in the morning, and I'll tell you again what we're saying, and surrender in that way, you are learning to flow with the higher realms. You're learning to flow with your higher self. You're learning to flow with the goddess energy. And then truly life becomes so much more delightful. And the parts of your life that are difficult will feel so much more supported. So what I said earlier, Jessica, is that when you wake up in the morning, then the first thing you do is speak. You take a moment just to observe. You see, okay, I'm in a new day. So things have moved, things are moving, things are always this way. And then you make the statement to the goddess, I'm flowing with you today. I am choosing to flow with you. And then you have to watch, though, for the parts of your mind and your emotions that will go, okay, no, I have to, it's got to be this way, it's got to be that way, it's got to be that way. You want to flow. What the flow means is that you're actually going to feel happy. You're actually going to feel good. You're actually going to be dropping what is old rather than waking up and carrying it as a burden along, trying to work it out all the time. You're going to actually just feel happy because when things move like that, they are refreshed. Think of like a babbling brook. When it has it's moving all the time, moving through, and how refreshing it is. That is what it can feel like to be a human being that is in the flow. And then what are you looking for? You're not looking for your problems. You're looking for the presence of the divine, but it's not like you're not struggling, you're just open. You've opened yourself up, you've made your commitment, you've made your statement, and now you're letting it take you, and you are consciously experiencing the path that she takes you on. I hope this makes sense. I think it could be a little bit abstract, but it's experiential, so that's part of the issue. But you want to, if you make the statement, if you understand that the flow is natural and is supposed to be happening all the time and is happening all the time, think of how much stagnation you've had in your life in any kind of place. This is not natural. This is because you are actually conditioned for some reason to hold this pattern in place. You just don't understand, that's all. And now you can start to understand that it is allowed to flow, and the flow can actually be effortless. You want to go with the flow. You know that saying, you get to go with the flow rather than trying to create it. So that's what I have to say. I can actually see you tonight because I'm sitting closer to the camera, which is not so good, but if anybody has a question they want to shoot at before I close, please go ahead. Otherwise I'll close with that because that's more than enough to consider. Okay, looks like you're all fine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. And please give this a try. And please, let us know. Let us know. It's really good to share these insights. So much love to you.